The Marcia Weekes Show. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey, we growing, we know it.
Barbados. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, boys and girls. You are watching the Marcia Weekes Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados. This is, upside down. Something is wrong here. This is the national flag of Barbados, and you just heard the national anthem of Barbados. And I'm telling you guys, this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. Anybody listening, watching, has ever been to Barbados? You're living outside of Barbados and you visited Barbados? Well, if you have not, you really need to visit Barbados. A beautiful place. We have our issues. But the people are beautiful. The country itself is beautiful. What we are concerned about is the governance of this country. That's what we're concerned about tonight. And so tonight on the Marcia Weekes Show, we're asking the hard questions. Tonight we are asking, are the labor unions dead in Barbados? What's happening to the labor unions? And we have with us Dr. Derek Allen, and it's his first time on the Marcia Weekes Show, a former senator, I found out today. Very educated man. He's traveled the world and has written so many papers, and I mean, very, very intelligent man, Dr. Derek Allen, and we are excited to have him on the program tonight. We also have Senator Naked from Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla Persad-Bissessar is just, she keeps heating up the place. And, you know, we are going to look at her concerns. We mentioned it last night. We had it on the radar, but we're taking that off the radar tonight, and we're making it into a segment. We also have Mr. Glen Murray. He's going to be on, and he's a former senator as well and a former minister. So we have one current senator from Trinidad and two former senators from Barbados here, Glen Murray, and he is going to talk about the Carifta motorcade. He has some critique of it. But before I go into the on the radar, there's some topics we have on our radar. Before I touch on those topics, I just want to welcome everybody. And while I'm welcoming you all, I want to just to say to you that the funeral, Cedric, good night. The funeral for Mr. Dave Thorne is going to be on the 24th. I don't know if Dave can put that up for us now. It's going to be on Saturday, the 25th. The Saturday, the 25th. That's it right there. Thank you. Yes. Saturday the 25th at 10 a.m. at the St. Patrick's Roman Catholic Cathedral in Gemmett's Lane, Bridgetown, right there in town. Okay. And it's at 10 a.m. I would love if a whole group of us from the loyal opposition, if we could attend the funeral. Yes, I'm not a big funeral person, but I'm going to definitely do my best to be at this funeral. Saturday, April 25th at 10 a.m., St. Patrick's Roman Catholic Cathedral, Gemmett's Lane, Bridgetown. Okay. And that's Sir Dave Thorne, a wonderful man, I'm telling you, such a servant, you know, serves people. This is what you call a servant leader. And we're gonna also stay on his death. We want to know the cause of his death. Mavis Lashley, good evening. Calendar, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Jefferson Sobers, good evening. Jeremiah, Annette Brewster, Lori Bob, Marcia Miller, my friend Marcia. Marcia, I hope you come out and go to the funeral. Yes, Marva Hunt, Andrea Critchlow, Rosemary Lane. Rosemary, I forgot I forgot to promote your business. I totally forgot that, but we're going to get it done. Hi, Lucinda. I'm a big girl. Angela, good night. Beverly Perscott, First Wizard, good night. Joyan Roberts, good night. Mildred Ben, Sonia Perch, Judith Ann Clark. How are you doing, Judith Ann? Sherry Johnson. Oh, wow. Good evening, good evening, good evening to everybody. It's a pleasure having you tonight on the Marcia Weekes Show. And I'm going to ask you folks that you kindly like and share. Quickly go ahead and like and share before we get into the on the radar. This Monday, April 13th. And these are our on the radar topics, are topics that we're not going to go in depth into them. We're just going to mention them, make a few comments about them, but then you can call in at 9 o'clock. Okay. And tonight, again, we can only accept WhatsApp calls. If you call WhatsApp, we're good. All right. Anywhere in the world, you call us WhatsApp on anything you hear on the show, or it might just be something on your mind that you want to discuss. Call us at 236-7000. All right. So here goes. The first on the radar topic is the digital licensing and government readiness. Now, I saw where Barbados is moving to digitize license applications. On the surface, this sounds like progress, doesn't it? We want to digitize the license applications. Efficiency, convenience, modernization. Those are the words that might come to our mind as we think about digitizing the licensing application. But here's a concern. Are we digitizing a system that is not yet functional? Why I say that? Anybody has ever tried to send an email to a government agency? It's sending an email, even just an email to a government agency. You are wondering. You have to drive to go down there. You have to get in your car to check to find out if they got the email. Oftentimes, they will tell you the email hasn't been working for weeks. Right? There are lots of delayed responses, inconsistent service across departments. Some departments might be efficient, technologically savvy. Okay, so there's inconsistent service across departments, but we are now going to digitize the entire licensing applications. Are we improving the system or just putting it online? We want the minister to answer that. Minister Santia Bradshaw, I heard her, she was the person I heard announcing that. Are all departments fully equipped for this transition? Have public officers been fully trained? What happens when the system goes down? Will there be access for those who are not digitally ready? What about the elderly? Digital does not mean better, especially if the foundation is still weak. If you have more to say on that, call us at 9 o'clock tonight. The next topic on the radar is drought watch. We're being told, did you see that in the newspaper, Barbados Today? There's a drought watch. Water reality and the data center demand. Now, the newspaper said drought watch. I am connecting that to the data center demand. Barbados is now under a drought watch, people. But for many communities, this is not a warning, is it? But a lot of communities, this is their reality. It's already a reality. We're seeing dry conditions, changes in agriculture. Where I am in St. Philip, just dry. You know, hard to grow things properly. There's pressure on water access. And now the big question. At the same time, we're discussing development, including a data center. Right there where you have the green landfill is where they're planning to put this data center. I say to every Barbadian, you have a computer, go and research data centers. Did you know that a small to medium data center can use up to 100,000 gallons of water per day? Did you know that? It can start at a minimum of 20,000 up to 100,000 gallons of water per day. Did the minister tell us that? Did you hear them say that to us? Where is the media on this? But we're not going to go in detail. I want you to call in every day, continuously, every single day, 365 days a year, up to 100,000 gallons of water per day, a data center. And that's what they're trying to get established right here in Barbados, to build that. Now compare that to the average Barbadian household, which is 120 to 250 gallons per day. One small data center could use the same amount of water as up to 800 households every day. We have to put it in perspective. So do we have enough water for both residents and this new infrastructure? Has a proper water impact assessment been done? What is the national priority? People or projects? Is it going to turn out that the data center is going to be serviced with this over 100,000 gallons of water per day, and the people in St. John will be without water, St. Lucie without water, St. Peter without water? Is this what they're planning to do? Call in at 9 o'clock tonight. A data center doesn't just use water. It's going to compete with households for it. The next topic on the radar, on our radar here on the Marcia Weekes Show, is this $5 million that has been given to churches. Government is allocating $5 million through faith-based organization to support youth. Now, I run a faith-based organization, and I'm telling you, I was at that meeting, and I don't intend to be at that meeting. Because, the intention may be good, but public money requires public accountability, okay, and scrutiny. And it can also be hush money. Yes? So the big question the churches who are lining up and waiting to collect this money, because a lot of these churches, and you could come for me, but this is my view. A lot of these churches, they love money. They love it. It's like collection for them. Money, and they're gone. A lot of these leaders, let me tell you, I don't care if they preach or they preach, they could preach like whomever, Billy Graham or whoever is your standard of a preacher. They could pray like Moses. A lot of them, not all. That dollar sign. Will these churches be able to speak on issues in the country? You don't speak now, and then when you start to get your download of this $5 million, you're going to speak? Is this hush money to keep you shut up? Did you even pray about whether you should take this money? I tell you, that's one thing for church. A lot of churches, boy, you could catch them with money. Can you believe that? When the Bible says that my house should not be a den of thieves, should not be a house where commercial activities happen and money changers, but should be a house of prayer. But most of you, anybody can catch you with a few dollars. You're gone. Most of you. You don't agree with me, that's okay. It's my view. What are you going to do? What will you be doing to ensure that you keep getting that money? That's the thing. That's a question for you. And the way I operate, that kind of stuff happening, I am not even there. I will not even go in that space because I don't want to be involved in that. But some of you love too much money. Some of you pastors, you love too much money. And I will guarantee you, I will ask the question, how many of you even prayed about whether you should take that money? No prayer involved because it named money. And a lot of you said the Bible says you should serve God or it's either God or mammon. A lot of you serve mammon. Yes. You could pray against me all that you want. I'm telling the truth too. Some of you members who upset, I'm telling the truth. Mammon. But you will pretend all you want. Because now we don't hear a peep out of you now. So can you imagine when you take that money? Well, let me quickly, I only have a couple minutes. Let me talk about the next topic here on the radar. Was on the radar last night, but we saw something in the newspaper today, and we saw on social media. I won't call the names of the people because it's a case. But political dissent in this country. Are you trying to tell me that political dissent could lead to the arrest or the threat to one's life in this country? Where am I really? Am I in Haiti? Am I in some African country? Not looking down on African countries, but you know what I mean. In some of these African countries, when you have, an authoritarian government, a dictatorial governments, you say one thing outside of, it's like Iran. Is this Iran that we're living in? Oh, you're trying to make it Iran. So you're trying to tell me, I'm asking a question. I'm just asking a question. But political dissent in this country could lead to arrest or a threat to one's life. Barbados, what kind of country are we becoming? Are we going to continue to call ourselves a democracy and a republic, and our citizens are feeling that they are going to be victimized, bullied? If they speak out politically, it could cost them their freedom or even their personal safety. Barbadians, I want to talk to you tonight. We are Barbadians. It doesn't matter what party. Political dissent in Barbados is not going to lead to arrest and charges. People are going to be personally assaulted, or even could people really lose their life because of what they believe or what they say politically, how they're aligned in this country? What about the judiciary? So if this is what is happening and you're going to use particular parts of particular laws to lock up people, when these people go before the judiciary, when they go before the judges, will there be justice, or the judges are also bought? The judges are also tainted politically? Question. We must decide, Barbados, if we want a country ruled by justice, transparency. Do we want a country ruled by freedom? Or do we want to continue in a country where power is feared? And when you speak the truth, you are punished. Let me just say to everybody, the Caribbean is watching, The people are watching. History is watching. This is not the Barbados that we know. In a few minutes, Mr. Glen Murray is going to join us on the show. He's 87 years old, and all of my seniors who call me all the time, this is not the Barbados that they know. And I'm saying to us that something is going to happen in this country. Fear is too much fear. You're telling me you have cancer, or you have you need some serious treatment. Not necessarily cancer, some serious treatment. You need to get an operation, and you're being turned around at the QEH. No operating theater is open for you, and you're still telling me you're afraid to speak out about that when your life is at stake already. What are you going to lose? Do you understand the level of fear that even in sickness, people can be afraid in this country? We must answer, Barbados. What kind of country are we living in? Where is the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights when we need them? This is one of those moments. And I'm telling you, Barbados, your name will be on the international stage, not for tourism, if you continue with this. Anybody watching from any of the Caribbean islands, please share it. Because the only thing this country really respond to is embarrassment. International embarrassment. We have to take the fight to them internationally. This might be the only protection some of us have. Is to take the fight to them internationally. That's the only thing it seems like they respect or will respond to. These are serious questions. That's why it's hard questions tonight. Hard questions we're asking tonight. Yes? Well, folks, before we go into our next segment, I see Mr. Glen Murray is there and he is waiting. I just want to remind us that the funeral for Mr. Dave Thorne is going to be on April 25th at 10 a.m. at St. Patrick's Roman Catholic Cathedral. And we are not going to forget him, a wonderful man. And we're inviting or encouraging people to come out. I don't attend funerals generally, but I'm definitely going to be there. Thank you to everybody who's joined. Are you liking? Are you sharing? Are you liking? Are you sharing? It's important that you do that. Well, let's welcome Mr. Glen Murray at this stage. Mr. Murray, good evening. It's a pleasure having you on the Marcia Weekes Show, and I know you have an amazing topic. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share on the Carifta MOTORCADE.
Good night, Marcia. It's a joy to be with you again, and I look forward to having a very engaging discussion with you and exchanges and giving my perspectives on certain matters. First of all, I'm not 87 yet. I'm well on my way, and I hope to be there. So, but still a number of years off, but I'm well on my way, and I intend to get to 87 past that. But thank you for you wish me happy 87th birthday in anticipation.
Yes.
In advance. Thank
what is it? Is it 84 or 85?
82 going 83.
Ah, okay. There's another person who's 87, and that's what
Okay.
I'm mixing up with. I am so sorry.
Okay. No problem. I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm happy to be able to be that age and still functioning well. My brain is still I don't forget many things, so it's a blessing when I see how much dementia and whatnot is prevailing in the country. It really is I'm quite fortunate. I'm grateful for it. But let me get into my topic. My topic, as I would have said you, is lyrics of the Weatherman song, Disgrace the Carifta Motorcade. Lyrics of the Weatherman song, Disgrace the Carifta Motorcade. So my critique of the motorcade largely stems on what would have surrounded the playing of that song and the reaction to it, not the motorcade per se. I would have some issues with that. Okay, so it's just the playing, the lyrics of the Weatherman song, Disgrace the Carifta Motorcade, and I will explain that as I go on. As you know, like any other true Barbadian, I would have watched hours and hours of the Carifta games on television and enjoyed it immensely, and also would have been very pleased and proud of our athletes and how they perform in swimming and in track and field to bring great glory to Barbados. Obviously assisted and coached and prepared by their coaches, their backers, their parents, and all others who contributed to their success. I was also heartened then, against that background, to see the kind of warm and enthusiastic welcome they got when they returned to Barbados from abroad in Grenada, and Martinique was where the summit took place. And I therefore, haven't seen these airport welcomes, I was therefore looking forward to a more structured, organized, formalized welcome and appreciation for the athletes from government, etc. Since the athletes will have gone to represent Barbados, all of Barbados, as at the regional level. But my concerns were raised about the celebration of the success, this magnificent performance that we did, better than many, many years. I don't think anybody can really quarrel with the performance given the conditions under which they would have had to prepare themselves. But my eyebrows were raised and I had concerns. My instincts were triggered when I saw what I consider to be a rushed reception at a lower court for some, not all of the athletes who had been abroad since. I think the swimmers were still abroad at that time. And when I saw that, I said, my past experience taught me say something. Why is this rushed? Why is it being done so quickly? Within a day of their return, less than a day of return to Barbados, just within 24 hours. I said, aha, I suspect it is being rushed and pushed ahead. And this earlier said because the Prime Minister must be traveling. And therefore, as I've observed over the years, in order to make sure that she gets her personal credit as Prime Minister, not as head of government, or the government gets her credit for being associated with such a successful venture by the athletes, I thought that, to me, my indications and all I've found out is that this was performed so that she could extend her and with her personal congrats be engaged with them at the personal level. And I saw this is a regular feature because even though she's head of government, to me, this would have been done to further advance the cult of personality that has been developed around Prime Minister Morley over the years in a way that no other Barbadian leader previous Barbadian has ever even sought or come near to do it. So therefore, I quite understood how that would have been rushed to do that. So he said, so the motorcade from Kelson Oval to the gymnasium, to Gary Sober's game there, the gymnasium, would be part of that initial effort to celebrate the successful athletes. But I wondered, wait, there are our local heroes right now in the atmosphere of the success at Carifta Games. We are the nearest thing to what we have national heroes now, except for the ones who have been designated, most of them past national heroes. So he said, why why not wait and let them be the center of attention, get their due regard at a well-organized, structured, tasty, dressed-up occasion for them on National Heroes Day. On national, why not make them? Let's see them show our true appropriate. They are, like I said, they are tantamount to their performance have made them into what would have been our local heroes. Why not treat them as National Heroes Day? Because right now, even though we've been celebrating National Heroes Day for 28 years this year, we have lost track of any serious structured program. So it has now become another bank holiday, highlighted most times by the Barbados Labour Party's picnic at the East Coast Road and other places. So I said, but to do that would have been to deprive the Barbados Labour Party of an opportunity to go into the excesses of music and revelry and East Coast Road, etc. Partying. But I thought that would have been much better for a classy, where people go all dressed up with their parents and their coaches, be treated proudly, not just a motorcade or stand up in a room saying hi. So a sit down where full appreciation can be meted out to them in a manner at the start. I thought that would have been that would have been better. So so I said, okay, I would watch and see what happened with the motorcade, and I was particularly struck by it when I saw a 30-second video of it from The Nation on their Facebook page, I think it was, showing the motorcade on Broad Street, the trucks, the athletes celebrating, etc., people training them on what, etc. I was impressed by the energy of the athletes. They were in their element, celebrating, and they looked very pleased, and justifiably so. And I thought it was being used as an opportunity to let their hair down, having gone through all the rigors of preparing and executing for the game, having exposed themselves to the rain and sun and hot days and all those kind of demanding conditions. I thought this was a good time to let them relax. So I was very pleased to see them dancing, especially when they came off the truck and dance on Broad Street on the pavement. I said, well, they were in their element, they're having a good time. There was a song being played to which when they came off the truck and they went on pavement. And I said, it's a catchy song, usual dancehall type rhythm beat, and they listened back because of the noise of the reproduction of the music, because of the traffic, because of the lack of clear diction on the part of the performer in the song. I did not get the words clearly, but I was pleased with it, like I said, and I was mentioning to some young persons about what I thought of the video. They said, but have you really listened to the video? They said you must not only listen to the 30 seconds on The Nation, in the Nation newspaper, you must go a full, I think, 2 minutes plus 2 minutes and 2 seconds on YouTube. And the song is called Weatherman, performed by Jordan English, right? And they said because if you really listen to the song, you'll have a much different perspective on the song. Now, the song, I thought the song was celebrating the excellence, the national performance of Barbadians at Carifta, and also in the context of striving for excellence to advance their country for their own personal development, etc. But it was not in that vein. So I thought it was not uplifting. It was not a real, true celebratory event, which you would have thought like for example, it was like there was a song called Obadale by Edwin Yeager that celebrated his 2000 performance at Obadale's performance. There was nothing uplifting in that. It was just a song. And when I listened to the song, instead of praising the athletes, celebrating Barbados and Barbadians' excellence, and they're striving for perfection and advancement in every area in sports and life. It really was a song. The Weatherman song, performed by Jordan English, was really describing in song, right, the most private parts of women. Believe me, you have to hear the whole song to sing. It is very explicit. It's disgusting, and I really cannot. I wouldn't try to I would just let the public go online and hear for themselves. It's called Weatherman by Jordan English. And Jordan English had come to my attention when some years ago when they were in the throes of removing Lord Nelson from Broad Street, or the top of Broad Street, to, I think it's now somewhere in the environs of the garrison or the museum or something like that. I heard a minister, I'm not sure which minister, so I just say a minister of government then, crediting Jordan English, who apparently was employed as an influence, something like that, for, he was given great major credit for get the public to go along with the idea of removing Lord Nelson. So that stuck me, because that was very unusual. Okay, but so when it's a Jordan English talking about this weatherman and describing the parts of a woman, for example, you talk about wetter than he ever had. You talk about what kind of woman that a Beijing was like. Looking like a flash flood warning. Described a power washer. Now these are the parts, and it's all in the context of a sexual performance. Right, so I really was quite taken aback, quite disgusted, as a matter of fact, as to how this could have been allowed. So I said, you know something, I'm not blaming Jordan English for the playing of his song at the event, because that is his work of art, if you call it art, and he obviously did it because there's a market for it. And that there's a market is when they saw the athletes get off the truck and dance, singing the song word for word on the pavement, including the young girls in the troop. I was quite disappointed, because what they were doing, they were validating this disgusting perception and description and attitude, both of Barbadian towards women and their sexual activities, etc. So I thought maybe then, well, obviously, I had said he sang the song, but why was it played? Maybe I think the DJ, whoever he was, should have known better, should have had better judgment, given the quality and the tenor and the thrust of the education, something uplifting, something momentous happening about. You want to celebrate that. To put that on the playlist, I thought it was very poor professional judgment on his part. But then I said, it's not, apart from his own personal judgment, it shows a lot of preparation, conceptualization, implemented of the people who organized the motorcade. Because as a producer, Marcia, you would know that anything you put to the public should not be by accident or spontaneous. Should be programmed, organized, structured, approved, etc. So I would have thought that, and I would having worked in government and been having to organize major events of all kinds. You don't leave anything to chance to somebody. You vet it, you organize it, because you work towards a particular goal, and everything that takes part should help you reach that goal. So clearly nobody took the trouble to brief him as to what kind of music they want played on the road. All right? Like, for example, we had songs you could talk about. You got the same Over There song by Mark Lord. Could have played Mark Long's song, My Country to Me. If you talk about sportsmanship, there's a song called Gary Sobers by the Merry Men. There's one by the Mighty Sparks. So there are a number of songs. There's a song by Suki King, Keep On Pushing Suki. There's enough material in Barbados, but Barbadian sports and sports persons, as well as celebrating the goodness of Barbados and the beauty of Barbados, what it has to that have it to sing to what I thought was a very unfortunate level of lyrics. And to me, therefore, I think it's a reflection then on whoever organized the event. Like I said, the DJ, the athletes should have known better because because it promoted vulgarity and negative images and values.
Yes.
And this was happening at the time when, like you said, the government has promised $5 million to the church to help uplift, reinstate morals and raise the moral standards and behavior of Barbadian youth, especially. And they were supposed to be held accountable. The church have to be accountable. They have to produce. They have to give deliverables. They have to produce. They have to prove that they've done their work, etc. Those are the conditions that were attached to the announcement of this $5 million program, as carried in the news by Mr. Jordan. So if the churches will have to justifiably so, would have to be accountable. All others involved in organizing this motorcade and the outcome of the content should also be accountable and should also be made to account to the public for why they allow something like that has happened. Unfortunately, the way the youngsters reacted to the song shows that there was a prior familiarity. They knew it. They knew the words. They could dance. But that is all right. I'm not sure what settings they might have heard. They might have heard at the dub fed or some other situation. But on a national program organized by the government of Barbados, paid for by the taxpayers of Barbados, on the main thoroughfares, carried on radio, etc., it should not have been allowed. And I said, maybe the Barbados Labour Party, as a party and as a government, have not yet learned anything from what happened on the 21st of January. Is it Checkhouse and Lucy when the 2026 election campaign was opened up virtually with a family dairy outing or something in St. Lucie, and where in the midst of the program, some youngsters, 8, 9, 10, were able to take the microphone from the performer and sing words to words, a very explicit song that really they had no right being on stage or being in the crowd prior to be on stage singing that. And I remember after the public outcry, the justifiable public outcry, the Barbados Labour Party eventually made an apology. So I'm saying that in this context, on a much bigger stage, much more momentous occasion than that, because that was a Barbados Labour Party event. The motorcade was a national event. People were dressed in Barbados' national colors, showing the trident, saying Team Barbados, to all intents and purposes and images. It was a Barbados national event. It means that those who organize the motorcade did not brief the service providers to tell them what they wanted, what kind of music, what they should have, and vet it and hear it, rather just leave it to them to play as they like. It is a grievous mistake. And I think the Minister of Sport himself, because he has been lauding the athletes and identifying, I think it's some Ilarico or something talking my athletes. He's not claiming the athletes. I said that these are Barbadian athletes called my athletes. So a minister in a ministry that oversees this program or is not they're his my athlete. Show you how they identify or seek to identify with this person. As far as I'm concerned, they were athletes representing Barbados. If that is so, if you feel so close to them, I think you owe it to Barbados, to the family, friends, school teachers, coaches, parents, guardians of these children, to put them in a situation, despite even their behavior, because they're responding to what they already heard. But it should not have been had that opportunity, because it should not have been allowed to be played on that occasion. And I feel that then that like I said, Minister Charles Griffith owes the Barbados an explanation as to how it happened, and apologize for it in a serious way. I don't think it's something that we should be proud of, and something I think we should not allow. Some hard lessons should be learned, not only for this occasion, but in future events. That what goes on a microphone, the music, the images must be vetted, approved. Otherwise, somebody's going to make a catastrophic and a nationally embarrassing mishap if these strict standards are basic standards of management and processing and are employed to make sure you get the quality product you want. But if you heard me mention the $5 million annual fund, which is meant to build skills, employment pathways, and community values among the children. And this is what Mr. Jordan said today. We're talking about accountability, and that this is not a giveaway. According to words, Mr. Jordan says that, and this is for even knowing what you were talking about, Marcia, that the success of the initiative will depend on measurable outcomes. He said, and I will quote him, "We must be able to point to outcomes such as increased youth participation in structured programs, greater access to employment pathways. We need to be able to point to reduce crime and antisocial behavior, stronger families, strong community networks, good morals, strong values, with a positive focus being demonstrated by our young people." So there's it. So if that is the thrust of the government, these same standards, I feel, should be applied not only to where the government is giving grants to churches to do work, but should be go through the system, because these are the national goals and objectives, and these deliverables, these standards should be applied to everybody, and every incident have been applied to the Carifta MOTORCADE. To me, it was a letdown. It did not have the same significance as a celebration event because it was devalued, disgraced, soiled by that unfortunate song, the use of that unfortunate song as part of the program. I don't know if you might want to ask me a couple of questions in the few minutes I have left.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that I'm so glad that you spotted that, because it is, as someone rightly said, Mr. Murray, over the years we've looked at events that they've produced, and they're generally not family friendly. If you're going to look at even what they're going to produce on Heroes Day as a party, it's generally not for the family, and it's unfortunate, very unfortunate, when they could also bring that over to the government. And you're talking about a wonderful event as the Carifta MOTORCADE. Somebody corrected us because we keep saying Carifesta, but it's the Carifta MOTORCADE,
Yeah.
and they would have a song. I didn't even understand what you were saying. I thought it was an uplifting song. I've been trying to find the lyrics online, and I am not finding it, the lyrics. I can't play the song because of copyright issues. But now that I hear what the song is about, I don't know if we want to play it. But, it's unfortunate because it's the same thing that occurred only a couple months ago under the Barbados Labour Party when they had their, the launch of their party. So it's unfortunate, really unfortunate.
I hope this does not become the hallmark. And with National Hero Day, today's the 18 days away.
Yeah, today is the 13th.
It's 15 days away. It's probably too late now, but I think this should make them think again. We've had, after 28 years, it's something I've argued, and I was part of the original program in 1988, held on Broad Government Headquarters on Bay Street, the initiation of National Heroes Day. Enough time has elapsed where if people had seriously applied thought and imagination, we should have a proper program that would be much more than a bank holiday, where you can recreate, relive. You have what, 12, 13 heroes now? There's been pictures of them, but I'm saying that we had enough time to accumulate there's not enough creativity around Like we should have special program, videos. In fact, there's a, much to my astonishment, there was a CD produced in which I think there were 12 national heroes then, in which there's a song actually written for each national hero.
Yes, that's correct.
But you don't hear it being played.
No.
All you see are a few weak, lame attempts to publicize it on the day of the or night before, of pictures on the thing. It's a disgrace and disservice to this person who sacrificed so much for Barbados. Well, all we need is serious. In the same way, you can have a big K and wrong way called what is it called now? A so-called National Mechanical Gardens. Some effort and expenditure should have been gone. This is how people retain their culture. It's how people reinforce it. So you put it in informal ways, not through lectures in schools only. You put it in your plays and your music, and your dance, and your poetry, so that people get accustomed to it as part of their life and they celebrate. Like we do for Christmas. You don't have to go to church to learn. You don't have to go to school to learn about Christmas, celebrate Christmas or Easter. There are enough cultural activities, manifestation. We need to do the same thing with our national heroes. Otherwise, in a few years, it would just be a name. It would just.
So that is what is so unfortunate, Mr. Murray. And I know it's your traditional. You're from the Barbados Labour Party, but it's very, very sad.
But no. I'm not. I left the Barbados Labour Party in 2014.
Okay.
All right.
It wasn't this one.
I was with them. I worked with them. I worked for them, but I was not a member of them. So there was no difficulty. Right. When I saw the culture of the Barbados Labour Party as an institution changing to be from a far cry. What you're seeing now is a more extreme form of what I saw in 2013, and I left when I was uncomfortable with it because I knew there was better could be done and had been done, and therefore I parted company with them. Okay.
Yeah. So well, what I'm saying is that everything that has to do with culture and history, Mr. Murray, under this government, whether it was done deliberately or it was an act of nature or done mistakenly, or whatever the reason is, it just seems to me that culture is being erased, history is being erased. I mean, look at what happened with the it's not the museum that was burnt down. Remind me.
Archives.
The archives. Thank you. Okay, it's an act of God. The point is that it's underneath it's their tenure. It's under their governance. Some people might say that it was neglect. I don't know. Why it happened. But the point is that under their government, everything to me, and I shouldn't say everything, but most things that have to do with culture and history. And I'm not sure why. Because such creative people, I see the creatives that are working with them. I know them, Mr. Murray. But why is it that our culture and history seem to be erased under this government?
Because people are too busy organizing fetes and fetting, imbibing, embracing, inculcating, demonstrating other people's culture and neglecting our own. Take our music. What is Barbados' musical profile, regional or international? That has a distinctive Barbadian rhythm or beat. You hear tuck and spools only on ceremonial certificate, but it's not being regularly played, not being utilized, not promoted, except Independence Time. So you have to do this every day. Otherwise, like any other process, if it is not utilized, it will shrink and atrophy and die and struggle. Meanwhile, this music I'm talking about I would describe it as a dance hall tune. Why could you not write as a dance hall tune? So the dance hall and other people's, we are very quick and apt to master it or go to junk and produce things like foolishness, like what they call bashment. Remember we were going to Bashment International? A 2-string, 1-string, 1-note thing. Pure gibberish for lyrics. What the British call doggerel. unintelligible gibberish. So we are doing all that. Meanwhile, you're celebrating culture. You have degrees in cultural arts at KFL and at community college, but on the ground, the thing on culture really, in truth and fact, people's everyday way of life. It's right there around you. You don't have to go and dig it. It's right. Just look around you and observe it. And that is why I'm glad. I have to put the plug for myself. That book I wrote, Barbados Custom to Travel. So my instincts told me that if I did know that, there would be many things would disappear and there'd be no record of it around. I'm glad I made that contribution to Barbadian literature on the cultural arts in Barbados.
You're so right, Mr. Murray. You know, and the thing is this, someone wrote here, and pardon me. I mean, I am a transplant. I was born in Jamaica, as everybody knows. Live in Barbados now for probably near 30 years at this point. And I struggle with Barbadians. What seemed to me, I like to put it that way, as the non-patriotic expressions of Barbados, of some Barbadians, and especially our young people. And what a moment we had, Mr. Murray, at Carifta with doing, I mean, the kids doing so well, for us to make it such a patriotic moment, such a historic moment. But we are bringing something from Jamaica, right? We're using an idiom, a music idiom from Jamaica to express ourselves here in Barbados. I don't understand it. Do you think that we would be doing that in Jamaica?
Of course not. Of course not. You've probably heard me tell some stories about the difficulty. There was a group of Barbadians went to Jamaica in the 80s, headed by Blue Rhythm, the Blue Rhythm Convoy, trying to play calypso to promote Carnival. And when they got there, they had to call off the show because then Byron Lee the service providers were told, okay, if you provide the badge, what will happen to when they go back? And they had to, it used to be that serious. And I do not criticize any country for promoting, being proud, being militant about their thing, but give yourself a chance. Because every country is distinct and unique, and we should not be just takers. We have to produce and give the word. Take foods, for example. How many foods have you given to the Caribbean that you'll find? I could go and find doubles in Barbados and Trinidad. I could find bacon shark.
I'm seeing David Naked is right here from Trinidad. We'll just make the last set of points, and then you can always come back at 9. I hope we can continue this very interesting conversation at 9.
No problem. I think I'd like to listen to what you seem to have a very heavyweight team on tonight, so I'd like to be able to learn as much as possible by listening to them. But thank you very much for entertaining.
Yes, thank you, sir. Right. God bless you. Yes. Well, folks, this is quite a very interesting show, and I need everybody, if you have not shared the show as yet, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and to share the show, to like the show. This is important, very, very important what is going on, and I'm very interested in this part of the conversation tonight. As I was in the earlier segment, that this particular one, CARICOM controversy, is happening again. And Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar is at the helm of it. And she's asking hard questions. And that's what I love about it. This woman is not playing, whatever you think of her. I love the fact that she's taking the stuff on head on. So I have one of my favorite people from Trinidad here with me tonight, Senator David Naked. Good night, Senator.
Good night to you. Hope all is well. And good night to all your listeners across the world, and especially in Barbados.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you so much. And, you know, I'm wearing my headgear here. And the last time I saw this beautiful picture of Kamla Persad-Bissessar, she had a lovely headgear for the African, I think it was like an African day or something that was held.
It was the spiritual Baptist. Spiritual Baptist, their national holiday.
Yes.
They were denied for decades by the PNM, their national day, and their right to worship as they please was denied by the People's National Movement. But Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the UNC are the ones who gave them the right to worship as they please, give them their own school and their own land to build their own church. And that's just a little history for your people in Barbados.
Yes. Now let's start to look at the process of the reappointment of the CARICOM General Secretary. Your Prime Minister is concerned about the official process, and it is her belief. Based on what we're reading in the media, that the official process of the appointment or reappointment of this CARICOM Secretary General was not done properly. Can you walk us through what are really her concerns? Can you tell us what is a concern of your Prime Minister?
Well, her concerns are exactly as you have stated. The conventional processes, the institutional processes were not followed. Proof of that is, I mean, if I were to have a meeting with my academy, football academy, if I had a meeting with my directors, my coaches, I would have an agenda set up before the meeting, so everybody knew what the meeting would be about. That's in a football academy. Now, can you imagine a prized institution like CARICOM? The CARICOM secretary, they have a meeting, all heads of governments are present, and there was not on that agenda the reappointment or the attempt or the intention to reappoint the Secretary General. And they came and they did it improviso, as we say. They came and they decided to have it when the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago was not there. I mean, it's crazy, it's surreptitious, it's questionable, it's unethical. It raises a whole lot of questions at this time in CARICOM, when CARICOM is already fractured. And you have to ask yourself, why would these heads of government, why would they take a risk like that to do something that is clearly unethical and against the normal processes? Why would they do that, knowing that this Prime Minister is not playing, as you have said? Mm-hmm. And she had asked questions previously concerning this Secretary General. And I think, it's a slap in the face to the institution that we call CARICOM, that they would choose to do something in such a way and then double down on it with lies, distractions, and misrepresentations. And to be honest, we say in the Bible talks about the perpetrator and the facilitator being even worse than the perpetrator. And here we have a case where all of these people, the perpetrator being the one who signed off on it, which would be Dr. Terence Drew, clearly, with all the evidence now in the public domain, it's clearly that this gentleman was being mendacious. And I will use parliamentary language here. I could say clearly there were a whole set of lies. I could say that to the Caribbean people. It's clear. We have looked at all the documents. It's in the public domain. And clearly there were lies that were perpetrated by Dr. Terence Drew. And the question, why would he do that?
Let's slow it down a little bit. Number one, what were these lies?
Okay.
You're saying there were lies. In your estimation, what were these lies?
First lie, Dr. Terence Drew issued a statement. Well, it's come to light. Well, the Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, put the document out. The CARICOM Secretariat issued a document stating that from the plenary session to the retreat in Nevis, that only heads of governments, heads of government only, it was clearly stated,
Yes.
heads of governments only would be allowed at the retreat. Sean Sobers, Minister Sean Sobers, who is the Foreign Minister of CARICOM and Foreign Affairs from Trinidad and Tobago, stated to them that he was representing Kamla Persad-Bissessar, and as is the norm in these institutions, if the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar couldn't be present, her head of delegation next in line would be Minister Sean Sobers. And normally they are allowed the next in line head of delegation to represent the Prime Minister. This is the norm. I'm talking about it.
That is the norm. Yes.
That is the norm, and that is the precedent. However, when he represented his intention, he was presented with that letter by Dr. Terence Drew, by the Secretariat. Later, we found out that that letter was drawn up by the self-same Secretary General, who this whole meeting was intended to be about. Anyway, that letter was presented to him that he would not be allowed to be at that retreat. Okay, we don't go where we are invited. I wouldn't advise anybody to go where they are not invited. So he did not go to the retreat, obviously. He was not invited. When he stated to them that he was not invited, Dr. Drew doubled down and said, no, you were invited, but you claim to be seasick. When I said today, when I did my social media blog, I said today that in Trinidad and Tobago, when someone is constructing a lie sometimes, and it's a poor lie, we say in Trinidad, you know what? That story is missing a few people. You know, there are some gaps to that. It means, you know, you are from the Caribbean yourself, so you understand what I mean. That story missing a few people. So to double down on it, the few people that they were missing to make up for the lies, all of a sudden we saw the reappearance of Ralph Gonzalez of all people.
Yes.
Ralph Gonzalez of all people, who has no local stand-by in this matter. He's not anymore head of government. He's not anymore somebody who is present at the CARICOM meetings, coming out with a huge statement that he has been informed. Who informed him? Who informed him? Who reached out to him from CARICOM to inform him? That he has been informed that Minister Sean Sobers could not attend the retreat because he was seasick, that he gets seasick.
But and so is there any record that Minister Sobers had said that to Dr. Terence Drew or anybody in CARICOM?
I have not seen anything to that effect. The question is, it's all a distraction. Even if, which I know him personally, there's no seasickness here. No, never was a question of it. It was ridiculous. It was a distraction, obviously, and that's where CARICOM Secretariat, knowing that this lie needed a few more people in order to have any credibility or in order to serve the purpose of distraction, they brought in the always ready and able to defend the wrongdoers of CARICOM, Ralph Gonzalez, member, one of the longest serving members of the Old Boys Clubs,
Yes.
who has been privy to all the wrongdoing done by all the other presidents, prime ministers, they have left the Caribbean wide open for this to be a transit point, a transient point for drug trafficking. You know, they've done nothing about it. They have allowed our communities, especially our marginalized communities, up and down the islands, to be victimized, brutalized, oppressed, depending on drugs and guns. And, you know, we've seen an exponential rise in ghettos in Barbados, in Grenada, in St. Lucia. We've seen the rise in killings in Trinidad and Tobago. All of these countries, all of these islands that previously had a solid middle class have now gone from the wealthy at the top to basically a poor and working class people. And all these guys, including that guy there, this Mr. Gonzalez, who seems to have no respect for himself, who would come into a Caribbean discussion, having no local standard whatsoever, and be a comedian that Sean Sobers claimed to be, would be seasick and all. I mean, it's ridiculous to the point. First of all, why would they engage this gentleman?
Yeah.
Why? Why would any mainstream?
Yeah, what would be his role in CARICOM now? But let me ask you something. Why is it so, why was it important to your prime minister that this Carla Barnett, that she not be reappointed as the CARICOM General Secretary? Why is it? Because I mean, she could say, well, I wasn't there. And as some people say, well, majority would have ruled anyway, and she wasn't there. So, you know, leave it alone. Why is it so important?
No. The most important, we are supposed to have democracy within our institutions that represent us, like CARICOM.
Yes.
And there would have been matters of grave concern that would have been aired. So I give you the example of Dr. Carla Barnett.
Mm-hmm.
She was contacted by the Honorable Prime Minister, then opposition leader, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, in the matter of the Brent Thomas affair, when he was kidnapped from Barbados, put on a Caribbean jet, a CARICOM jet, given permission, someone from the RSS gave permission, gave it to they got clearance, came into Barbados, of course, with permission. Nobody can tell me Prime Minister Mia Mottley was not aware of it, kidnapped this gentleman from his hotel room, treated him from all manner of evidence, treated him basically like a dog, put him in a cage without food, and then brought him back to Trinidad and Tobago. Now, Barbados has admitted culpability in the matter already, but they have refused to let us know who are the people that contacted them, that asked for permission, that gave the order. They have refused to tell us. Mia Mottley has gone quiet. This beacon of morality and honesty and integrity, when she speaks to the white world and the Western world and speaks about reparations and the colonial legacy that has put us in this situation that we have now with these neo-colonial leaders, including herself, has all of a sudden, as we say, developed PEP, we say, in Trinidad and Tobago. She can't speak anymore. All of a sudden, this, who never stops speaking when she has a CNN camera or microphone in front of her face, correct. She can't say. She can't come and tell us, well, this is what happened. She cannot be honest with the Caribbean population. Why? That is the modus operandi of these fake neo-colonial leaders that we have in Trinidad and Tobago. They pretend to the outside world to be the pillars of resistance, fighting against oppression. They are the darlings of the Western world. Yes, you know, but when they are faced within their own region, they are the same reprehensible-minded colonial leaders that we've had for decades and centuries in our country that have kept our African populations down and oppressed our Indo populations down and oppressed, and prevents us from moving forward as a region, as a people, one people. And that's just the reality.
Yeah. But you know, you mentioned that your prime minister, when she was opposition leader, wrote to Dr. Carla Barnett about the issue with Brent Thomas and did not get any satisfaction. In fact, I think I read where there was no response.
No response at all. I wish we can say we didn't get satisfaction, that her answer was unsatisfactory. She clearly just did not respond.
But can I tell you something, Dr. Ms. Senator Naki, just before you continue there, that I want to tell Barbados that this Dr. Carla Barnett that several of us within the Caribbean region, about 15 to 17 organizations, we wrote to Dr. Carla Barnett the cybercrime bill that they were going to use in Barbados to, punish political dissidents, to punish those of us who had a different view than the Mia Mottley government. And we sent a letter to Dr. Carla Barnett. This is why the story is so interesting to me, Senator Naked and viewers. And up till this day, none of these organizations received get an email back and say received or noted or something. We did not hear back from her. And there, I'm sure in Dominica, they told me there have been occasions that they wrote her on issues to do with CARICOM and with CARICOM states. And she did not even respond, even to say, Dr. Barnett could even say, well, this is not under our jurisdiction. Let us lead, direct you to where you need to go. She did not even respond. So I just want Barbadians to know that we had the same issue as your prime minister. But continue, please.
Well, I'm not surprised by the level of impunity and contempt that Dr. Barnett has shown to your group as well as to our prime minister. It is clear that this lady, acting for her puppet masters in the CARICOM secretariat, that clearly there are secrets that she holds, and this is the reason that all these shenanigans.
We're alleging. I have to say that.
We're alleging, but I would like them to sue me, because I would like this to be aired in a court of law. Because we have to say at some point in time in the Caribbean, we've had enough of these types of leaders. We have to say we've had enough of these dancing, singing clowns in and around election time, who can crack a joke or two, who can sing a verse or two, and have our people voting for them for the same corruption, the same inactivity, the same level of disrespect that Dr. Carla Barnett showed to you all and showed to us. And that is why our prime minister was adamant that we have to air our concerns, and she was not allowed to air the concerns of Trinidad and Tobago. This is not going to go away nicely. I can tell you that. I know our prime minister. She's not accepting this for a second. And Dr. Carla Barnett enjoys 22% of her salary, $140,000 TT per month from the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. And they want accountability and transparency. And she'll have to provide that. As to why not only did she only answer 1 week ago, the letters sent close to a year, 2 years ago, or maybe more, 2 years ago. And two, how could she accept as Secretary General to making the documents in our own interest on behalf of the Secretariat and not informing in an honest and with integrity the necessary documents furnished to Minister Sobers, informing him that he will not be allowed to attend the retreat in Nevis, where ultimately she was voted and reappointed back as Secretary General. That's, I mean, only in the Caribbean.
Oh, I'm telling you, only in the Caribbean. And can you imagine if this is happening at CARICOM level, what is happening in their countries? And you might not say it, but it seemed to me that all of these that are of certain political persuasion, they call themselves red. All of them, they are all operating together, because if you ask the other party in Guyana, who I was trying to get on here tonight, they will tell you what they have been through under the hands of this woman on the screen, Dr. Carla Barnett, the other party, not the ruling party. Okay. But the other party, if they were on, they can't come on, but I'm going to try to get them on next Monday. The reality is that they serve each other. That's my view, my opinion. It appears to me Senator Naki, that they're serving one another on their particular governments, that they all work together. The St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, you know, he's connected. All of them are red, and they are all working together. Now, let me ask you a question in the comment section before we close off here. Senator Naki, people are saying, I'm seeing a comment made here that there are people who believe that your Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, that she is being used by the US to cause division in CARICOM, that she doesn't really have any issue with Dr. Carla Barnett or with CARICOM. However, it is America that has the issue, and your Prime Minister is being used to cause discord in CARICOM. How do you answer that?
Well, I'll answer that. That makes no sense. I'll tell you why. What issue would the US have with Dr. Carla Barnett? And all of that is very much different than the issues that Trinidad and Tobago has with CARICOM. It's clear that we stated our objections before. Our only connection with America is their intention to stop the drug flow through the Caribbean. That was our intention stated by the Prime Minister before. Why would this red and ready crew up and down the islands be objecting to that? They've seen the devastation caused by the drug flow within their countries. They've seen it. They've seen the rise in crime, the rise in murders, the rise in drug use, up and down from Grenada to Barbados to Jamaica, all up and down. Why would they have an objection? Okay, they have their own internal policies. I understand that. But if this is the intention or the policy, the stated policy of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, in the interest of her people who voted her overwhelmingly into government, why would they object to it? They can't. Let you keep your objections, but we are part of CARICOM. Doesn't mean that we are subservient to CARICOM. The Prime Minister stated that she will act in the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago first and foremost. Okay, so our interest is not unaligned with the CARICOM, but CARICOM chose conveniently when they wanted to support Venezuela and Venezuela against Trinidad and Tobago, and by the way, against Guyana. Against Guyana, when Venezuela was threatening Guyana, there's no leader in the CARICOM who stood up and said, I will send troops from our country to Guyana, except Kamla Persad-Bissessar. These are the people who want to come now and pretend that they are for CARICOM. How come they did not support their CARICOM brother when Venezuela was at the door of their Essequibo? Why didn't they support? Isn't Ghana part of CARICOM? So I am not swayed by these hypocritical arguments. We support the interruption of the drug flow. We've seen here in Trinidad and Tobago where crime has dropped by 42%. 42%.
Really?
A decrease in the murder rate. Of course. 42% from 25 to 26. We've seen that drop in crime. So we are not going to be moved by these distractions offered by people that we are acting in the interest of the United States. We don't support each and every policy of the United States. We support this particular policy that coincides with the betterment of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And we do not see how that interrupts the betterment of the people of the Caribbean, unless for some reason these CARICOM leaders have a vested interest in seeing an increase or a continual flow of drugs through the Caribbean. There can be no other explanation for it. Wouldn't Barbados and Grenada and St. Lucia and Antigua and Barbuda love to see a drop in their murder rate and in their drug use? Wouldn't they love to see that? I hope they would. I hope they would.
But I can't remember. Gilbert Perry is saying that Barbados said that they were going to send troops to help Guyana. I can't remember that being said at all. But
I can't remember that being said at all. I remember the only one, and Irfan Ali, Dr. Ali, spoke about that recently. That the only government that said they were willing to send their troops was Trinidad and Tobago. I can't remember Barbados say. As a matter of fact, I can't remember Mia Motley saying anything at all. To be honest.
I will have to check into it, but I don't remember that. But someone is saying that that is the case. I mean, you have people who, because they hate Trump, they connect Kamala with Trump, and they can't see anything but that. For me, I'm the kind of person, I'm able to, I do my research, and I peel back the covers, and I look at, just to see what is happening, and I know that when I did not get a response, and my colleagues in Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean did not get a response from Dr. Carla Barnett about something so important that went to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, and she would not even respond to that. That said to me that we had somebody there who appeared to me, that's my opinion on the matter, that they would not entertain anything that seemed negative, concerning any of their stakeholders. They weren't going to have, involve themselves in any kind of discussion. That's what it appeared. It didn't matter what was happening to us as CARICOM citizens, But thank you so much for being here with us tonight. What's your final word you want to say to the people of Barbados and the rest of the Caribbean?
I am very much a Caribbean man. Very much I believe in us as one people, from Trinidad all the way up through the islands, all the way to Jamaica and Haiti. I believe we are all one people. We are members of the global South. We are Black people. That includes Africans and Indians. We are Black people, and that's how the Western world perceives us, and that's how we are. And we have to get through this thing together. But we can't get through this thing having the same kind of neo-colonial leaders that we had when we were in slavery, and when we were being oppressed and abused and exploited. I mean, you're not going to replace Fulgencio Batista with these people that continue to oppress us, and you're not gonna tell me that these Caribbean leaders act in our best interests when they don't do things that are in our best interests. That narrative, that continuous verbose that we have among the leaders, where they just love to talk and not walk the walk. I think the Caribbean people, we've had enough of it. I think we want to see deliverables. We want to see our communities being served, being better. We don't want to hear our leaders being praised internationally while we despise them locally. That makes no sense to us anymore. And I wish that we stick together. We stick together with the West Indies cricket team. We stick together as one people as we travel freely to the Caribbean. And I like to say to my people in CARICOM, love in the house from Trinidad and Tobago all the time.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Senator Naked. It's always a pleasure having you. And the enlightenment has been great. Thank you. And God bless you all.
Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, there you have it, Senator Naked. That's his viewpoint on it. Obviously, he's a senator in the Kamla Persad-Bissessar, government. And it's always a pleasure to have him on tonight. I can see the comment section. We have different opinions, and that's good. That's fine. All right. So let me welcome for the first time. I am so excited, y'all. Have you shared? Have you liked? Because we're coming back to Barbados right now. Back to Barbados. Everybody, come on. Get the eyes open. Drink a cup. Get a sip of tea. I'm sipping a little tea right there. All right, and let's get going, guys. We have without Dr. Derek Allen, and I found out today he's a former senator, very brilliant man, I tell you. And I'm looking forward to this discourse tonight. He did an excellent article, and I invited him on. I hope he won't be a stranger to us. Welcome, 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 Dr. Derek Allen. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Marcia, thank you very much for having me. And with that introduction, you have me so afraid I don't know what I can say to live up to that kind of introduction. But thanks. And it was not because I didn't want to come, but as I said to you, Sunday afternoons are difficult for me.
Yes.
And once it's not a Sunday, I will make myself available. So maybe Mondays would better suit me.
Right. Well,
and I want to say thanks for Dave for helping me get on, because I was having a little struggle. You know me, I'm not technologically savvy, but he helped me to get myself sorted so I can be on. Thanks to him. I want to say thanks to him. And,
yes, sir. Well, it's a pleasure having you on here tonight, and people are telling you welcome. First Wizard is welcoming you, Taroni Hall welcoming you, and people are happy to see you. And I'm really hoping they're liking and sharing. Please share it to all of your chats, the WhatsApp group chats. Dr. Derek Allen is on, and we're going to get into some good discourse. He might stay a little bit on in the question section, where you can call in and ask him a question, etc., on whatever he's presenting. Now, Dr. Allen, I would like for you to explain for us how union recognition currently works in Barbados.
Well, you know, this matter at the Port Vale thing brought into light the absence of legislation in Barbados to deal with the question of recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Our trade unions have traditionally fought against a legislative administrative process and prefer to negotiate and to do voluntaristic negotiations whenever there were disputes.
Mm-hmm.
But my view is that since we've been able to get the Employment Rights Act in place,
yes,
we need to have a regulatory framework that deals with the issue of recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it is the practice has always been that if there's a question about which union represents a particular establishment, the Labor Department is invited to do a survey, and they will do a count of the union membership.
Yeah.
Which union has 50 plus one is recognized then as the collective bargaining agent for workers. Not that the other members must not be recognized and represented by the union that represents them, but for the collective bargaining process, the one that gets 50 plus becomes the recognized union. Now, there are instances I can tell you that was never so. Because sometimes you have 3 unions in an organization.
Right.
And it is always difficult to find 50 plus one, trust me. But I remember I was the representative for the NUPW sanitation when we had the Barbados Workers Union and the NUPW both representing that establishment. I also represented the MPC, where the Barbados Workers Union again and the NUPW both shared representation of workers. But the tradition, and it is a tradition that when there is a dispute, the Labor Department then conducts a survey and determines which union has 50% of the memberships plus one.
Yes.
That is the tradition. There's no law in Barbados. I must tell you that there is legislation in the UK. I am not going to get into the details, but it sets out a process, and they're now into online balloting, and a whole set of sophisticated procedures to ensure that each worker has a right to representation by the union he or she wants.
Yes.
And I'm suggesting that
Okay.
the time has come for us to get a legislative procedure in Barbados that helps us deal with recognition, given the behavior and the language I heard recently on this matter at Portville.
So the question is, Dr. Allen, if union recognition is not clearly codified in law, would that create room for inconsistency or even manipulation?
Well, that's the point I'm making now. The point I'm making before we would have a noise, an issue, and the Labor Department will intervene and sort it out. But now it seems that I don't want to make any negative statements about the Labor Department because I spent 10 years there. And therefore I am cautious not to cut the bridge on which I walk.
Yes.
But the Labor Department has a responsibility to step in and to deal with this impasse, because the critical issue here is that the sugar crop, which normally starts January or February, is now into April. And I watched all of I read all of the statements coming from the different players. I don't like to call the people's names because sometimes they call it the Employers Confederation when it should be somebody else. And I am not pointing down, but I'm saying is all of the players have indicated that the delay in the crop is going to damage the sugar content, the molasses availability, and also small businesses who depend on the workings of the crop to survive. A woman who sells lunches and soft drinks on a work site, and the crop has not started, suffers. The people who are in transportation, it is not only the people directly cutting the canes and working in the factory that are under pressure. Several small businesses in Barbados are under pressure because the crop has not started. In addition to that, I've heard the producers of the sugar, the people who own the sugar plantations, saying that the canes have been delivered to the factory now over 2 months, and that they're sitting in the yard and rotting.
Wow.
And a new set cannot be sent until the ones in the yard are disposed of. So we are in a situation where any person who has the interest of Barbados at heart wants this matter resolved. Now, it brings us to the question of the role of the different actors. And when they say actors, the workers and their representatives, the employers and their representatives, and the government.
So, let me just ask you, for my understanding, there are two unions then that are representing the workers there at Portville. Unity.
But there are already three. There are already three. But people are not known as a CISA, the Sugar Industry Supervisors Association, called CISA.
Okay.
That's also there. If you read the article that I read, I introduced them into the discussion because they have an interest as well. So
CISA, Unity, and BWU.
BWU.
Right.
Okay. And I listened to Mr. Franklin's release today. Yes. I can find no fault with it, because clearly even the smallest operation in Barbados is covered by the Safety and Health at Work Act. So to suggest that Portville is covered by the Health and Safety Act and Safety and Health Act, is not making any issue, because even government departments must follow the dictates of that piece of legislation. Even a shop, notwithstanding the specific codes that represent activity in a shop, must still fall under the edicts interpretation of the safety and health we're at. So that's not a big issue. The big issue is how do you get the factory to work when you have workers insisting that they want better terms and conditions? Whether they use the shop app to say they're supposed to be getting 40 hours, or whether the factory allows them to give them compensatory time for extra work. Whatever vehicle you use, the issue is that we have to get the crop started. So don't let me confuse over the Shops Act versus the Shaw Act. That's not the issue here, is that the crop got started. And the government has a responsibility to step in through the Labor Department, get the parties together, find out where the gray areas are and get those gray areas sorted out and get the crop started. And then for the CEO or the expert or consultant, Dr. Maskell suggest he is not meeting with this party and that party, only inflames the situation, because the workers did not go out and line up next to the Barbados Workers Union. They went out with unity. So the workers are recognizing their legitimate representative as unity. Whether there has not been any survey to suggest that the Barbados Workers Union has the majority of membership, and to suggest that because you have been negotiating with them all the time, that it must stand. The workers are now telling you that they want this union to represent them. So your thing is to find out the representativeness of the unity trade union. That's the job of the government through the Labor Department, to test the membership and to make a determination about which union it has. And even if it is 40-40 and CISA has the other whatever. Let's say they got that BW got 40% and Unity got 40%, CISA got 20%. A decision still has to be made of how we go forward.
Correct.
We can't. This is now into April, and not April 1st, April 13th, and we are playing games, political games, with people's livelihood. And true, and all the other test though is the question of recognition. And we need legislation, because if the government is going to play games, we need a legal basis for determining a recognition
of a union, because even in this case, you're not going to, since that you have, thankfully, you have introduced CISA in this. It means that you will never get 50. You may never get 50 plus 1. 50 plus 1.
And the legislation and in England allows for different levels. You understand? And it recognizes different levels of unions in terms of representative, different interests. When I was at the union, we represented at sanitation, we represented at one time supervisors.
Yes.
And the BW represented general workers and technicians. And so those things happen. And the point is that the issues must relate to keep the business going. Whenever we fight over wages and terms and conditions and all of those things, the role of the partners must be to ensure that the engines keep rolling, not to hold out and you're meeting with this body and you're talking to that body and that's not part of your remit. Your job is to get the sugar cut, ground, loaded, molasses produced, whatever we can sell, and get ready for next year. Right now, what are we doing?
Yes.
Who are we hurting?
But
sorry.
I want to ask you a question there because I want to go back to the unions, and then we're going to go back. Then I want us to then focus on this, on the sugar industry. I have a question for you on that. So, but I want to ask you, honestly, Dr. Aline, is there evidence or at least perception you think that the government favors certain unions over others? Would you say that, and why?
The CEO, I don't know, Dr. Master says that they've always been negotiating with the Barbados Workers Union, right? But that does not mean that the environment has not changed for the workers. And therefore, if he's not favoring them, he's saying that because they did it in the past, he's staying with them. But if the workers now are saying, we no longer want the Barbados Workers Union, he needs to call the Labor Department to board and to do a survey of workers' intention for their recognition and representation. So it is clear to me from the Dukton and Dipsy Dukton that they don't want to deal with Franklin's union.
So that's
why it's clear to me. Franklin is the problem. And I say this before, I'm a member of the NUPW still, and I will always remember a member of NUPW. But clearly, Franklin seems to be able to voice his concerns on behalf of workers while the other unions have become muted.
Yes. But
so therefore, go ahead. No, so if you ask 80% of Barbadians on the street who they believe which unit is representing the interests of workers, whether it is public sector or private sector, they will tell you Franklin. They don't even say union because some of them don't even know the union name. They will say Franklin. And whether Franklin with a small union can make the kind of demands that some of the bigger ones can make. If you got a membership of 20,000 and 8,000, and frankly, I know the numbers, honestly, because union data have always been difficult to get. Not know ever since. People know why they underrepresent their membership for different reasons. But I know that the Barbados Union Workers Union remains the biggest union in Barbados, and the NUPW is number 2 in terms of membership. Franklin may have been making strides, but the fact is that he has not reached the quantity in terms of numbers, in terms of members, to shut down Barbados thing or to close off a place. And the government recognizes that. And the government says, well, no, my Franklin, he must have got 1,000 or 2,000. Then we got to take him on. So he can yap. Right? Once it is not the BWU or the NUPW making noise, the government cruises along in space provided by the lack of cooperation and cohesion between the unions. Yes. And that's yet another point I want to make. The tradition has always been, whatever issues arise between unions,
yes,
when an issue arises that affect workers, we state solidarity with each other. So the first response of any union in relation to what's happening at Port Vale should be, yes, these are grievances that must be addressed. Mr. Franklin has raised the issues and we agree that these are grievances. We will deal with who representing the workers later on, but these issues must not prevail. Yeah. That is the issue I have with all this conference. And I heard Sidhu Saab has been making some comments about, and I hope Sidhu Saab stands their ground and says straight and plain that the issues are legitimate and that they must be addressed.
But Dr. Allen, how do we, thinking about the workers here, how do we ensure that recognition reflects the workers' choice and not political preference as we move on? Is this going to where you're saying that we need to codify it in law? How do we ensure that this happens? And because if they're going to determine who they want to, work with.
Well, listen, a former president of NUPW reminded me last week when I sent a post to him about my concerns about where this confusion was leading. That we need to do something with the Employment Rights Act and add to it
Okay.
a recognition clause, some recognition clauses, and that we can draw on the experience of the UK legislation.
Yes.
And we don't have to take it or embrace all of it, but we can find sections that can connect us to what we really need. Because we need, anytime to have a situation, a structure, a code, regulations that when a matter arises about recognition, all the parties are clear about what the procedure is. If you have 20 unions, this is what your representation allows you. If you have 50%, then you have ABC. If you have 10%, and so on. So that each union that is representing an establishment is aware of what his membership allows him or her to do. And the legislation is there. In New Zealand used to be a closed shop situation where agency rule, once you became a member of an establishment and it was controlled by a particular union, you had to follow whatever that union did. It has since changed and it has representation across unions. And we don't have to go left or right. We need to look at those pieces of legislation and find the parts of them that we can adapt to meet our situation. But we can't continue with the government playing games about which unit it can work with. They cannot do that.
So
I heard the government during the last election saying they are going to be giving workers an increase in salary shortly. But in my lifetime as a union, that never used to happen. We used to have been negotiating. And I hear any of the unions except the CIDUSAP raise issue with those comments. The union is going to come and tell the government, how dare you? We will negotiate with you and we will determine how much salaries increases we want. And we will come to an agreement, not you will tell us that you will give us something. You're sacrificing the strength of a union, the strength, the right to negotiate for collective agreement for your workers. And it upsets me when the unions stay quiet on these things.
Listen, this is a very I'm listening to you and I'm like, I mean, this is clear. It is clear to me. It sounds to me that the trade unions in Barbados, they're not really independent, because if you're saying a statement like that would not normally be done, and none of the unions even say a word about it, it makes me I have to ask the question: all of them, including Caswell's union, are they fully independent?
Yeah, you see, well, the point is, like, the principal negotiator for public workers is the National Union of Public Workers. By now, they should have been sent proposals to the government, telling them, look, the last salary negotiations happened in whatever year, whatever month, and we received 3 cents or 5 cents or 10 cents. We believe that sufficient time has elapsed. The cost of living has gone up. The issues of A, B, and C, some people need to deal specifically with health and safety issues. Some people need to deal with other issues over time. Some people may need to deal with uniforms. We need to meet around the table and have a discussion about working conditions for workers. Now, unless that happens, we have given up the right to negotiate. Because it's not only about salary increases, it's about other issues that are broader. The cost of living. The government had, I think last year, one meeting with the social partnership to deal with crime. One meeting. And I know that next week, they are going to meet with the committee. I think on the 15th, because we were supposed to have a meeting with CIDUSAB and it's been postponed because the government has indicated it wants to meet on the same day. The committee, not the full social partnership, the committee. And for the last 2 or 3 years, the partnership has been being pulled, and often I make noise with the unions. The partnership is employers, employees, and government. And the issue that we never seem to want to accept is that the government is one of the biggest employers. So the government almost has two roles.
Yes.
It controls a lot of the workers. And when you get a government, clearly to me, whose employment practices tend to suggest to me that they are controlling who is hired. They're controlling who is hired. And then they're acting as the mediator between employers and the unions. We into big time trouble. So the public service, with so many influencers, we just call them people, just call them consultants.
Yes.
With people at heads of department now coming on short-term contracts and not career contracts. The government has enough influence on those people to create the holes in the process that we are facing. And Barbadians are not opening their mouths. Barbadians are accepting it. And the unions, in my view, are to blame. Because unions are the ones to alert Barbadians of these issues.
Yes. So they're really, but let me ask you something, sir. I mean, this is, I'm learning quite a bit from you. Remind me of when Caswell used to be on. But let me ask you, sir, why do you think that if these negotiations or this action by the Unity Workers Union, if it occurred during the election or before the election, do you think they would have gotten a better response from the government?
Well, in earlier governments, I would say yes. In earlier governments, I would have said yes, because there would have been sufficient effort from other opposition forces, not only the opposition party, but the news media, the other players in the social media, who would have come on and says, let's say the tourism sector, the sugar sector would have been saying, like, I see a limp comment today by the people that is control sugar today, a press release in either yesterday or this, that give me very hurt. It makes absolutely no sense. It didn't call the government out to come and intervene on the issue. All the employers back then, the BTA, when the hotel workers came to Oyer night, it used to be a big issue. The workers want increases, so Oyer night is the big night. The workers hold them to ransom on Oyer night. The employers will call out on the government, please get involved. These people ain't calling the government to court. They're trying to blame the workers for saying which act is supposed to be governed. The act is insignificant on this matter. The Barbados government has a role to mitigate, get in here and get this matter resolved for the betterment of the sugar industry. And it's failing because the truth is it does not want to deal with Franklin. That is the problem. They don't want to deal with Franklin.
But don't you think, though, that Mr. Franklin, as much as we love the work that he's doing, don't you think he might have missed an opportunity to at least try to do it before or during election? I was surprised that he did not want to do it because of the election.
Well, truth is, I really was not conscious, honestly with you, that it had reached to the negotiation stage until he made a comment some time ago that the matter could have been dealt with before the election. But if he had dealt with the election, he may have had more promises or more clear promises. But I do not think he would have had any significant advance on the protest he wanted to make.
Yeah, because he's, I mean, I've seen this. I was surprised that he would not have. He said he did not want to this seem to disrupt the election. When is a union? Why, as a union, I would like to ask Mr. Franklin if he was on the program, because that sounds so unlike him. Why would he be so concerned that he didn't want to disrupt the election or seem to be interfering in the election? Because he did that with the nurses. He had a protest on the street, I think it was a week or days before the elections in 2022. So what was the difference now? I was shocked that he would.
The issue maybe the workers' reluctance to join the picket line. You see, I do not know the details, but he may not have felt comfortable that enough of the workers were apolitical and that they would join him in a protest. He may have felt if he tried to get them out, they may not have come. I cannot tell you, but that may have.
He says his reason was not wanting to interfere, seeming to interfere with elections. And that is, if he was on the program, I would say, Mr. Franklin, but what has changed? How come you did it in 2022? When just before the 2022 elections, you could go online and you could see it. I was at the protest. And why would you do it now? But that he's not here. I'm just asking you.
But all I'm trying to interpret his behavior on the point. I am suggesting if he had called the workers out before election, too many of the workers may have been political, and he would not have had the response from them that he would have wanted, and therefore he took a back step. I am not saying that is the reason. I am trying to rationalize why a radical like Franklin would have taken that position, and that's the only thing.
Because we know he's a radical, and it's something that is just a question. I'm not, it just sounded strange to me. But let me ask you something. Listen, you got to keep Mondays for us, please. Pencil that in, because this reminds us of Franklin with us. But let me ask you something though. Do you think, Dr. Aline, that the government really wants to resolve this issue? I remember doing a show with Mr. Franklin as well, and Kemar Stewart. They used to be on the show, as you know, and there was a big discussion and debate between them and Miss McLean, and and the feeling was that the sugar industry is dead. The government doesn't want to revive it. They're not interested in it. I mean, when you look at what happened with the lieutenant, Colonel somebody, I can't remember his name right now.
Colonel
Brown, and how it seemed, in my opinion, that he was sabotaged. In resuscitating, because they wanted to buy the industry, and black people were going to take over and all of that, and the government just kind of dropped the ball, sabotaged them. And I remember on the show the debate was going, and the feeling and the thought was that the government is not really interested in that. So is it that they are leaving the industry to just die?
But I beg apologies for calling Anthony Wood's name. I'm not negative, but he's been making this an issue for national concern. And he has been saying for the last 4 years, at least 4 years, that the attitude of the government to the whole sugar industry says clearly that it is going to die. And Brother Wood has been consistent, and he's raised issues about the relationship between the energy group and the sugar group. And he's been, up to last week, he put up an article inviting the government to respond to some very biting questions. I had them in the article I wrote. I put out the article last week asking the government to answer some questions about the future of the sugar industry, because clearly, if it continues at this rate, not only is there continuing the neglect by the government on part of the sugar, except that they're providing with over $50 million in support every year. I can call a figure. I don't know what it is because you never ever get the true figure. But they're providing with support every year, but there are no actual plans to change the direction of where sugar is going. And I must keep saying that Anthony Wood has been writing about it, and I've followed his arguments, and they are sound. And the questions that he's put to the government is treating it as though it's an academic exercise, and that they don't have to answer him because he's just writing, but he's asking questions about why is the government keeps paying taxpayers' money to industry without putting supports to ensure that the sugar industry finds new directions and finds new energy. The sugar industry is in peril. And that there's no other word you can use to describe the state of the sugar industry. I don't know. I'm not a person involved in sugar management and so on, but I know that when I look at the evidence for the last 4 years, it has been going downhill, and the last year is going further down. Because 2 years ago, when they set this thing with co-op energy and thing, people were saying at least here's an option.
Yes.
Here's an option, whatever it was worth. You needed to find out where it was going, but here's an option. And that seemed to be jettisoned, destroyed, forgotten, ignored. I don't know. I don't have any not beef for Dr. Brown, Colonel Brown, or any other side. But I'm saying is that this industry has been with the backbone of Barbados' development, notwithstanding slavery and all those things. I've seen sugar disappear from Antigua, St. Kitts.
Yeah.
And it looks to me now as though Barbados is going to be another lost cause when it comes to sugar.
Yeah. It seems like, I mean, in terms of industry, we are not very strong in those areas anymore, and they are pushing a particular agenda. We need to have a whole show on that, because it seems to me, and we were talking about this, I would say probably about 4 years ago, on the show, where we saw what was happening. It's either they have somebody else to take over the sugar industry, or they're going to close it. That's one. And to me, what Mr. Franklin is doing for them, probably some people might think it's helping the government.
But I mean, when he's showing up, to me, the weakness of both sides, the government and the producers of the sugar, the management of the institute, and I have to be always careful when I invite my cousin's name, Dr. Masker, into any discussion.
He's your cousin?
Yes, he is. A very dear one too.
Yeah.
But he has to be careful by determining that they are not going to meet with any trade union or union training group. That is not part of his remit. The workers have a right to. If I have a grievance, the Trade Union Act says I can bring a friend, a lawyer, whoever I want to represent me. And therefore, you can't come and invoke a position that you're not going to meet with anybody. You can determine you are negotiating with so and so and so and so, but you can't say that you are not going to meet with any group. You can say it, but that is not good in the good spirit of unionism, collective bargaining, industrial relations, national development, progressive industrial relations. No. He cannot do that. And I'm very disappointed that he would get to that stage. And I thought he was independent enough to tell whoever put those words in his mouth, damn me. Because he's very strong on positions, and I don't know who could put that in his mouth. You can't tell people I'm disappointed with that, and I must say.
Yeah. Well, let me just I can see the chat is going crazy tonight. Folks, I call in, and Dr. Derek Allen is here. And if you have any comments, any questions, and even if it's not about what we are talking about currently, but we were talking about the Carifta, the MOTORCADE and the inappropriate song that was used, and then we went on to talk about the controversy in CARICOM. And so if there's anything that you want to talk about, the line is open. We only have WhatsApp again tonight, okay?
Yeah, but
only have
the other issue that I heard there
Go
that
right ahead.
I want to make a comment of is
Yes, sir.
let me compliment the athletes and track and field and the swimmers for their outstanding work.
Yes, sir.
I think that Barbadians' response with their warmth and celebratory outreaches are in keeping with what is required for for contributions people and the effort that the athletes made. I am 100% in support of them. But what I am annoyed about is that the government takes every opportunity to talk. I'm going to give them $1 million more in sport, and then the minister of youth repeats it as though something happens in Barbados. The answer to it is to throw a few more dollars at it without looking at the structural weaknesses of our program. Yes, we did good today. We did good this year. But we are so far from where we should be. People forget that the national stadium has been closed for almost 6 years. People forget that the Usain Bolt stadium in mash up, and that the fields at Harrison College, where we used to go and do our preliminaries in law school, where they were manicured to the extent that you could do a proper 200 and 400 meter at these schools, have deteriorated till you can't recognize them. And we jump up and shout out, these kids work against all the odds. And the government wants to go there and laud itself. They should be ashamed to even go to the stadium. I say that. Their treatment of sport in Barbados has been poor. The government came on and said they were going to build 12 mini stadia. Where are these mini stadia? 12, not less than 2. They said 12. I'm not pouring any cold water on Barbadians' response, but the government should be in the background, hiding the face, and wanting to know how these kids could do so well after the way they treated sports for the last few years. And in minutes of sports, they're walking about clapping hands, and he got absolutely no shame. Absolutely no shame. The gymnasium was down for 4 years. The swimming place, they down. Give me a man. Look, I keep myself out of these matters because I get very emotional because I was a volleyball, footballer, and a cricketer. I was president of the Volleyball Association in Barbados, and I am cognizant of what happens between an association, the government, and the players. You cannot always expect government to do everything, but there are some things that the government must do. They must create an enabling environment for athletes and associations to be able to do the best they can in the circumstance. And this government has not been an enabling government. They have been a government of talk and empty talk. And to run up behind the athletes now and shout, hip, hooray, and I all of them parents, pull them one by one. Put the coaches one by one and ask them how they feel about the government's contribution to the whole exercise. And I can tell you, they're not going to go public because this government has got people quiet to criticize them. Ask them one-on-one. Ask them the parents if they then had to make significant sacrifices for their kids, and the government sat down and did absolutely nothing in most cases. I'm very emotional about it, so I can't put in the discussion.
But it's time it's time we talk the truth about the matter. I know, especially for swimming, we had a family member, whose children were in swimming, and I couldn't believe the amount of money they have to spend on those children, and when even they have to go to represent Barbados, and how much money that they have to spend out of their own pockets. But one could say, Dr. Allen, well, they're promising a new stadium. They didn't do the 12 stadia that they said, but they're going to do, they're working, the Chinese are building us a stadium right now.
But no, look, that even, I don't get it to these promises. Look, sport athletes need to have things to focus on.
Yes.
if you want to do a career, you must know that my career, I want to become a top athlete. I want to get to Olympics. I want to get a Commonwealth Games. I want to get to something. And therefore, there must be partnerships between the teachers at the schools, the coaches, and so on, so that we are all on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
We're speaking the same language. We know how much resources we need per school. We know the government cannot throw everything to every school, but the government also has to create an environment where private sector, international agencies can say, look, Barbados is 280,000 people, produce athletes that can win, set records at 400 meters. How can we enable them? How can we create an enabling environment for them? But just come and promise people you're going to get them $1 million, to me, is disrespect. I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
We don't want to get political on it.
You could ask the question, where was $1 million all this time?
You know, I mean, people come by and the prime minister said, I'm going to put, and then the minister then says that he repeats it. I will be embarrassed to repeat that. I will be saying, look, we need to find out individually how these athletes, what in their head, where they want to go, meet with their coaches, meet with the schools, find out what facilities are available at schools that they can help individually and group-wise. Can we improve the facilities at community college? Build a nice little stadium at community college. Can we build one at the Polytechnic as an additional training ground rather than wait till the stadium finishes in 2 or 3 years? Right now, everything goes down the hill to the boat place.
You're saying
Jamaica. Right, but what else can we do in the short term till the stadium is ready? We are on let me say we're on a trajectory. Mm-hmm. What can we do? Listen, let me ask a couple of questions. Every year the Prime Minister has a football tournament that she spends, I think, I don't know how much money, some amount of money. And we can't get Montserrat beat. Montserrat with a population of 20-something thousand, we can't beat St. Kitts. With the population.
Wait, you're going so fast with that. So you're saying that the football team from Barbados wasn't able to beat Montserrat?
We cannot beat St. Kitts or Nevis. I'm telling you. We are performing out of the people in the Eastern speaking Caribbean. Worse at the 14, we done the last 3. And every year she takes up the money and plays for a tournament that really ends up everybody fighting who get and who ain't get. Rather than look to see what are the structural problems with football, meet with the players, meet with the coaches, and get a program. The Prime Minister now going out quarreling about cricket that the West Indies Cricket Board has not given us any matches. And she's quarreling about that. And I went to cricket this week. And I have 15 people at a game. 15 at a first division game, Premier League start. Game, 15 people watching it. That's what the Prime Minister should be concerned about. Not if the West Indies Cricket Board give you games. I went to cricket and couldn't get in Kensington Oval. I got a bank hall and can't find a way to sit down with Empire playing partners. Can't play picnic, you can't get in. And the Prime Minister is not concerned about that. The BCI used to go 126 cricket teams. The BCI down to 20 somebody now.
Oh, wow.
And the Prime Minister is concerned about that. This she home, this is what she controlling. She controls what happens in Barbados. But no, she want to call the West Indies Cricket Board control to say she's some big McGuffey. The issues are in Barbados that need to address. Women's cricket in Barbados, she got when she did the Fine World Memorial Lecture that she can do this for women cricket. She can do the next. Where going? I get so emotional about it.
But no, you're raising some important, because I didn't realize you were so engrossed in sports.
Well, I used to be, my doctorate thesis is on cricket.
Ah.
Yeah, and I was president of the Volleyball Association. I played soccer, and I love cricket. I like more than much other things in my life. I'm a cricket fanatic.
Right. So
Right.
this is what.
It's
But
deep, deep. Mhm.
I'm seeing this Angela Seeley in the studio. Who I
That's
don't know.
that she was a Barbadian bodybuilder.
And okay, let me see if she wants. I guess you want to say something on sport. Angela, put your finger up for me if you wanted to come in to say something. I don't want to put you on the spot. Angela? Okay, she's not. You have to let me know. I can't see your hand. Put your hand up if you want to say something. No? Okay, I'm not seeing it, so I don't know. You have to tell me.
You know, I get emotional about the direction sport is going.
Yes.
Because it is one avenue that we can chart or identify for our young people to pursue. Volleyball, football, but whoever. And it's an area to help us to deal with some of the deviance and the violence and so on if we run a properly structured program.
Yes.
And we got
I think we have a caller. Caller, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show. I didn't realize you were on. Is there a caller? No? Okay, continue, sir.
Yeah, you know, so we all the way we run sports and youth development and cultural development, there's no separation from them. And they also connect with our education profile and organization structure and what we teach at schools and how we get our children to react to sports. Now, we need to have ongoing discussions about the role of national sports, drama, dance in education and in national development. And it can be a 1 day conference or 2 day conference. It's going to be an ongoing thing that it becomes part of a national discussion for the next 2 years.
Yes.
For the, I mean, for the 1 month or not 2 months, that's going to be something that we get tired of. That we should run with every issue we got, carry it to its finest details. We just can't. It can't be the conference. It's gonna be a national discussion and experience. How do we get our young people focused on these aspects of their lives that can lead to career development, national development, and so on? And unless we have those discussions, we can continue to get, by April, 26 murders, breaking and enters every day, all those confusions. Because we're not getting our young people to focus on some of these things that we know that they should focus on. But you Marcia, you may not know, but I'm not hearing you.
Let me see if I hear this caller. Caller, welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show. Hi, caller, welcome. Can't hear the callers.
I don't know. I was also part of the Barbados Youth Service.
Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Good night.
Okay, finally. Finally.
In this discussion.
Yes, okay, we finally.
Good night and welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show. Yeah.
Yes, continue. Yeah. Go right ahead.
Discussion, especially on football. I also am a footballer and a sportsman in Barbados. Yeah. And the biggest problem and the members of sport in Barbados is that most of the dedicated sportsmen of the years gone by I keep saying it all the time, came from the ghetto or came from the low-lying places in Barbados. This is when Barbados had sportsmen. If you can go back as far as Gary Sobers, you would realize that most of these people who supersede came out of the ghetto. The problem with most of what's going on is that they're not willing to support these things because of where the people come from and who the people are.
Yes, keep going, caller. We can hear you.
The problem that we are seeing here now is that lack of support for these people in these areas has broken down. And this is where the crime now is being actually orchestrated. There's no outlet for these people to do their craft. So what's actually happening is that you're not getting the level of players, the level of people that usually would make the teams great. So you're actually getting an up and down, or sometimes you get a blow, sometimes you get just a small amount. So we are actually facing a crisis in the entire country. The crisis is the people. We are not encouraging our young people to achieve their goal. We are not showing them or providing the necessary outlet where the people can go and achieve what they need to achieve. So the problem we are getting to the biggest level is that the youngsters finding a new outlet, and the outlet is crime. We actually have the crime bosses being facilitated and the young athletes thrown to a side. So don't expect too much, or don't expect anything other than what you're seeing nowadays. There was a time when there were only one team in the Caribbean that can beat Barbados in football. And at that point in time, the people who actually played the football to that level, they got nothing out of it. They didn't even get, when they were injured, they wasn't even treated by the Football Association. Everything now has gone to a stage where certain people controls all of these associations. You actually have to be a certain person to get a position in these places. So you don't expect to get good things coming out of these associations when the people who actually do the best of these associations are not accommodated.
Yes. Yes, caller, thank you so much.
We are facing a crisis, and the crisis we are facing is actually the young people of the ghetto. The young people of the ghetto are not even being accommodated.
Yes.
So the situation in Barbados is a dire situation. Only one or two people can actually make it. So sometimes you get that one or two doing good, but basically you don't have a good core of people who can actually come together and give you a good team in nothing. So here is where we stand.
Yes, sir.
Until we can get, like Derek said, a national discussion with everybody about who is who and what is what, we are going to be at this stage for a long, long time.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your comment. Thank you so much for your comments. Dr. Arlene, I hope you could have heard him. Did you get to hear him?
Yes, I did. Marcia, is that our community and community structures have been changing for a long time, and we have not responded to those changes. The caller was making the point about the communities and where the people came from. Not less football less cricket is being played in Barbados than in the 70s at the community level. We have
Yes.
a lot of organized teams and teams people go to academies and so on. But growing up in the community of deacons, we were either playing football or cricket every evening until volleyball entered the arena. And therefore our community was active, and leaders emerged out of the informal games.
Yes.
And those people went on to play for clubs outside the communities, bigger clubs. And they went on to play for Barbados, and some went to the region. And they always give the story of a man who named Tony Cordell, who lived on Deacon's pasture, on the pasture. He said he stepped out of his house onto the pasture, and he could not make Deacon's BCL team. And 2 years after migrating to England, was opening the bowling for a county club called Glamorgan.
Wow.
Bowling. That was the strength of cricket in Barbados. And he was playing he could not make a BCL team in his community. No, we cannot go back there. We cannot get back to where we were. So what do? It seems that we're just throwing up our hands and not looking for solutions. And I say there must be national discussions across all disciplines in sports, drama, dance. I used to do mimes. I was in plays. Yes, I was in plays, dance and drama. Deacons Education, Social and Cultural Organization, DESCO. And we did everything. The same thing with USCYG. The same thing with Trents. All of us, we did everything. No. So we had the time to get into violence. We were so busy. And we can't go back there. But what can we find? What can we identify? What can we cultivate to get our people connected across disciplines, into communities? Even if the community is called the school community. Some institutions that we need to find. And I ain't got the answers for all, but I got some suggestions. But I know, unless we get our young people connected across all the disciplines, some people ain't gonna be good at any one thing, but they got involved in everything. I can't play basketball, but I play on the court. You know, we gotta understand, man. I get very, very emotional. He says no, I ain't throwing up my hands, but I am saying is that we need national conversations. Not great to ask people win few medals and come up there and jump up and parade them and say, ha, 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 ha. Look what we do. No, I tired of that. Like somebody saying that can go back. I don't know about going back. You can pick some of the aspects of yesterday and create programs around them. But to get back to the 1970s and 80s in Barbados, to me, is out of the question. We were
Dr. Allen, just hold a second there. There's somebody, a lady that's been trying to reach us, and so she has a comment. Might not have to do directly with what we're talking about, but I'm just going to let her, since she's been trying. Go ahead, ma'am. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Good evening, and thanks for the welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Just speak up, and we will. If we can't answer you, I'll take the information down, and we'll try to find the answer for you. Go right ahead.
Yes, what I want to find out is why. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, ma'am. I'm hearing you clearly.
Well, thank you very much. I want to find out why it is that the government is spending so much money on areas that are not as important as, say, the registry. What is going on in the registry in Barbados with the persons who have applied for letters of administration or probate or wills? I am one of those who have been waiting for 5 years. My lawyers, I would say, did everything that they had to do. Up to last week, I made contact with the lawyer, and they cannot hear anything from the registry. I have been into the registry and did the necessary signing, and that was supposed to be the end of it. So they get back to the lawyer, and the lawyer then calling me as the spouse, as the wife, and the children to distribute the assets. I don't know what is happening in this place. 5 years. I can tell you for a fact that the lawyers work quickly. I do not know the efficiency of my attorney, but I asked other attorneys that I know, and I asked other persons who work in lawyers' offices, and they say to me, yes, how ridiculous it is people having to wait all of these years to have their wills probated or their letters of administration issued. It is rotten.
No, I would just tell that young lady that.
What you can do is just hang up. Thank you for letting us, making us aware of this. And Dr. Allen just is going to answer you after you get off the call. All right? Because that's how we're set up tonight. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Marcia, in 2018, this government under Morley came in and said that the staff had too many administrative workers, and that they were going to be driving a technological, paperless public sector.
Hey.
Yeah. I was working at urban development as the director, and we said
repeat what you said there, because I tell you, go ahead.
Paperless public service, technological driven paperless public service, and a whole set of officers who were clerical officers, administrative assistants, those kind of people who were sent home. At urban, we sent home over 20-somebody people. Now, we had already put in place, everybody could talk about it, a proper computerized program that we can identify all across Barbados if we wanted to. But my issue was, you do not send home people till you put the technology in place. So if you go through the registry is short-staffed, big time. Because the paperless environment has not been created. It has not been created. And when you do the paperless thing on the technology that they have, if I get immigration form here now,
yes,
and I fill it out, and I send it to immigration department, somebody still got to pull it down, analyze it, and make sure it's correct. The technology does not make it correct or wrong. So if you send one of the people who's supposed to perform those functions, you must get confusion and delays. It is, to me, you need to put you got to make the people redundant. You just don't fire them. And this government came in and sent home a whole wash of people and quietly bring back in people at the very top as influencers and consultants doing reform. But you have not been able to advance programs, technological programs that can replace the hands-on, the eyes-on business that is required in small societies like ours. You go in the registry, somebody got to go and search the vault to look for a birth certificate from 1940. Even if you click it, it is not on the computer. You got to go in the vault. And it's not one vault officer. You got to wait 3 months. Because a lot of people are now contesting wills. Once before, poor people like me had no will or they had nothing. But now more and more people who used to be poor before got a little property, and the grandfather left something for them. Once before, the little group that had those sort of demands. Now more people are making demands on the system, but you don't have the manpower at the registry to do what is required. And they're talking about paperless society and about a rubbish. Until you get the technology in place where you can go on the system and you got 1914 birth certificates online, and that you don't have to go into a call a vault, you're wasting time and fooling yourself. And that's across the public services, not only registry, the labor department. Labor department has been suffering from staff. All the departments that embarrass suffering, probation department, child care board, all them understaffed. So we got institutional problems. I mean, if you go in any government department that deals with social development, child care, welfare, and them, and you can show me a qualitative improvement in the technology and the staff, I jump in wharf. They had a minister that promising a universal ID card for 7 years. Ain't get here yet. A ID card that when you go to one social service, it show you everything. There's 7 years he been waiting upon it. Government change and he said waiting upon it. He's not a minister of transport or something, so on. He ain't come yet.
But listen, at the start of the show, I was talking about Honorable Santia Bradshaw, where she was announcing that at licensing, that you're now all of the registration, everything with licensing, the application would now be digitized. And I was asking the same questions because most of these places, not even an email goes through. Sometimes I tell you, Derek, sometimes they'll tell me, Mom, well, we haven't gotten any email in 2 weeks. You send an email and you have to drive and go there to see if the email got there. So I don't.
When it comes to Minister Bashaw during the St. James by-election said that they had some lights from the Shafak place there on the highway down to Mile and Quarter. They needed lights. And she said they were on a boat from China. That was St. James by-election. Past there now.
The boat didn't reach it.
No, it's a slow boat from China. So I ain't gonna listen to them with that foolishness. But what I know as a former union rep for the public service, that they get a lot of bad publicity when the truth is not their fault. Because a lot of these systems are not technologically strong enough to put out what is required, and then they don't have enough staff to service the public. So you got license authority. Let me give you a good example. BRA is responsible for the cashiers. The Barbados Revenue Authority is responsible for the cashiers, collecting the money and so on. But the technical work belongs to the license authority. License authority can't tell BRA when to send the cashiers on lunch. So them then do prepare the invoices and the license rates and so on. And BRA go on lunch. BRA going to lunch. So you got your hand and you're on a line and they're gonna cashier.
Right.
So it is just poor administration. Poor administration and Barbadians tolerate it, and they ain't got nothing to do with the workers. It has to do with the structure and the system. And confusion. When should BRA collect money on behalf of licensing authority? The body they got able to control the staff in the collection process, so they can tell you take lunch at 9 o'clock, you take lunch at 10 o'clock, you take lunch at 11 o'clock, and so on. I can let my staff come at 6:30 and start preparing the documents, so when people come to pay, and then they go home at 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock. But two departments are not commingling. And this government has been knocking around with that there now for 3 years, and the confusion is still up there. The same only man who was the boss at there first, and that led to bigger confusion. Man.
Well, I'm telling you, I mean, people are dying with laughter. Derek, I tell you, this has been, I know why the people aren't calling, because they are taking it all in. Last night we had so many calls. Somebody, Sonia said the computer system in government is always breaking down. So I don't know what they are talking about. And now to build a whole data center. I'm saying these people, like, they just love buzzwords.
Yeah. They're good at it. And what do you call them? These fancy names that come up with these things like boss one and boss two and then things, so they like that.
Yes. All of these things that they come up with, and you can't really see what it is that they're doing, because here it is. They can't even get an email running through the system, and now they're going to spend millions and millions. Listen, the athletes gave more results than anything's ministry. The athletes that the parents had to pay for them gave more results without a national stadium, y'all. Than any ministry, and they are going to take up $1 million. Branding, we're going to give you $1 million, and look at the 200-something million that they're using to build a data center. And I think that we stupid.
But I try to keep my balance, because I get very emotional, because Barbadians believe that when you make a critical statement of the way this government is performing, that you're being partisan.
Yes.
And I raise my hand and say I support the Democratic Labour Party, and therefore I have my eyes open to every little thing and chink that they make. But I do not make statements unless I can ground them in facts, or I can bring evidence to support any claim I make that this government. I've worked in the public sector. I've worked with the BLP. I've worked with the DLP. Motley has been my minister twice when I was at the youth service, and then when I was at urban. You understand? I have worked with Louis Tull. I've worked with all kind of ministers. But I will say this, and nobody can question my analysis of this crop that we have. It's the worst ever.
Why you say that? Why? Listen, we
they don't perform. They don't produce. They don't produce anything. There's no institution in Barbados that is strong. The prison service under problem, probation under problem, community development under problem. Every institution in Barbados is under pressure. No, you can't point to anything. National Sports Council, gymnasium, point to an institution in Barbados, organization that's strong. Point one. Give me one. Youth service, change the name. I got the children located 20 different complexes across Barbados. Look, with the heads lost. So I can say without any fear, this is the worst crop of administrative ministers we've ever had. And we work with all two governments. And that's why I get so upset when people come and tell me that I'm being biased. I'm being biased, I'm being honest. I work with Glenn Clark, Don Blackman, Bradshaw. But this crop, when they may work with Paddy Shaw. You can't pick the worst of these. It's difficult to pick the worst of these. Difficult.
Well,
and Marcia shuffle around, so look, shuffle around.
Yes.
Let's get shuffle around like from the draft board or domino board.
But Mr. Dr. Aline, I tell you this. I mean, you got to come back. You got to reserve some Mondays for us, because you got some gold nuggets there. But listen, sir, as you say that, I mean, nobody's calling. I think they just want to listen to you. I'm thinking about, the sugar industry as we know. And another reason that convinces me that they really they really are not interested in the sugar industry nor in agriculture. It's look at who they put to be the Minister of Agriculture. Just as we're talking about incompetence, and since we're talking about that, look at this. This seemed to be a nice lady, Chantel Monroe-Knight. I don't have any issues with her. She I just thought she was acting. She was a big actress crying over the fire. It looked like it was put on, but I don't have a challenge with her as a person. She looked like a nice person, but why? I mean, what do they expect Chantel Monroe-Knight to do with agriculture, Dr. Ali? I think she's out of her depths. Let me hear your thoughts.
She and I work together on some projects, but they are so uncaring or disinterested in what happened to agriculture that if you go back and look at the minister before, she can't be no worse than him. No, she can't be. She can't be. So who else do they put? Is the question. Who do they put? You can look at the minister responsible for the environment, for fisheries, and when you add them up, you add up 20, the 30, the 28 of them now. And Molly made the comment early in when she became minister, she need enough of them to make one, Wait, when I first published statements, when people question the side of the camera, she said, need a lot of these to make one.
Wow.
Because she said, well, like many hands make like work.
Yes.
Interpret that to mean she need enough of these to make one.
Okay, that was your interpretation.
Yes.
Because she said many hands make light work. Well,
Right.
we're not. Well, they're doing light work. Well, we're not doing any heavy lifting.
Let me pick housing. Honestly, let's pick housing.
And we have 3 minutes.
Right. Let me pick housing.
Until next week. Go ahead.
Right. Let me pick housing. No, there was a lot of issue made over the projects in St. James and so on. But there's a project in St. Peter and St. Lucie that over $14 million were assigned. Only one house was built.
St. Lucie.
We can deal with that here next week.
Next week.
Definitely.
I know about St. John, but I don't know about St. Lucie.
They got one house built and a project between St. Peter and St. Lucie. One house and $14 million expended. So anyhow, we'll deal with that next week.
Yes, but we need you to come on because let me tell you something. We will on here, as you know, folks, we continue to educate, we continue to motivate, mobilize, and agitate. That's what we do here on the Marcia Weekes Show. It's all about Emma. And we left this time for everybody could have come back on. I didn't see we didn't have Glen Murray coming back on at 9 o'clock so that you can make your comments. But I think tonight you just wanted to listen to Dr. Ali. And I told you, a very brilliant man. And they said, Dr. Ali, you're on a roll. Come to the front of the class. Somebody is saying that they hope that you come back. So glad your voice, Miss Aline. So glad for your voice, Miss Aline. Hope you stay with the show. Dr. Aline on a roll. Well done, Dr. Aline. Dr. Aline was clinical tonight. Somebody says some slang you use that had us laughing. We haven't heard that slang in a while. Somebody said it's hot in here. So right. So that means, when Monday night comes, class is on. And you've got to get ready. And that's why I love these young people. I'm around a lot of young people. I called Glen Murray tonight, 87 years old, and he's only 80.
He's a very good friend of mine. We are very good. He would tell you what my mother cook and soup.
Oh my goodness.
All right, well, thanks for having me, and I'll try to be here next week. But again, I'll be able to touch base and make sure it's possible.
We'll talk and then know what we're talking about. Thank you
Right,
so much, Dr.
Bye-bye.
Ali. God bless you.
Okay,
Yes,
bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was such a treat, folks, and this is wonderful. What an amazing show we had tonight. We had Glen Murray, then we had Mr. Senator Nakid from David Nakid from Trinidad, talking about the CARICOM controversy, and we had Mr. Derek Aline making his debut on the Marcia Weekes Show, and it is just amazing. I have to get my book and start writing things down as I used to do, because it was just so exciting tonight. And I know you felt it too. You didn't want to call in because you were trying to listen, right? So we're going to be back again with you on Wednesday. And Wednesday, we have a special show for you on Wednesday, because we have those 4 energetic young men are going to be with me in studio. So we're going to be in studio with all of them. That's Rahman. We're talking about Dale promised me that he's coming. It's not going to work. So he says, I'm going to be there. And Jamal, it will be there with us as well. And also Damian Fanas. Everybody loves Damian. He's going to join us as well. And I think I have a particular tea that I want them to try on that set when we come together. So I'm going to be live with them on Wednesday. You don't want to miss that show. Miss Maxine McLean is going to come in all dolled up and pretty to join me on the set. And we're going to continue to hammer away at this International Food Science Center. I don't know who they think they're fooling with this, but we're going to continue to pick that apart and continue to ask Mark Hill some questions based on what he's put out in the media. So join us again on Wednesday at 7 o'clock right here on the Marcia Weekes Show. I love you all. God bless you and good night.
God above, guide we all. Ancestors, here we call. St. Joseph, standing tall. Joe's River sacred, pull down the wall. River flow, belong to we. Spirit glow, belong to we. Blocking road, can't stop we. God and the elders fight for we. God done rule, victory. Wall come down, finally. Rise up strong, community. Joe's River, St. Joseph legacy. Bathsheba breeze tell tale from before. Railway rumble along the old time shore. Chimbalazo spirits knocking on door. Ancestors watching old firm indoor. Roots in the clay, deep like prayer. Try block path, we still get there. Gotta walk with we. River declare this land is yours. Stand up, prepare. River flow, belong to we. Spirit glow, belong to we. Black in road, can't stop we. God and the elders fight for we. Court done rule, victory. Wall come down, finally. Rise up strong, community. Joe's River, St. Joseph legacy. Private sign up, try claim the space. Locals vex, hurt, show up on face. Foreign hand, try step out of place. But God and we ancestors lock the base. Villagers gather one heartbeat. Barefoot prayers rise in the heat. Courtroom shake when the truth repeat. Pull down that wall, river is we. River flow, belong to we. Spirit glow, belong to we. Black in road, can't stop we. God and the elders fight for we. Court done rule, victory. Wall come down, finally. Rise up strong, community. Joe's River, St. Joseph legacy. Victory land sweet like morning rain. Judge say clear, remove the chain, fix back the banks, heal up the plane. Let children laugh on the spot again. Honor the elders, the ones who fight. God light show with the righteous right. Raise the flag, hold it upright. Jones River free, St. Joseph unite. River flow, belong to we. Spirit glow, belong to we. Praise be God, community. Jones River, St. Joseph legacy. River flow, belong to we. Spirit glow, belong to we. Praise be God, community. Jones River, St. Joseph legacy. Oh yo 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 yo. Oh yo yo